Good morning. It's Saturday, April 4th, and if you've been watching these videos over the last week, today I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit and shed some light on why I'm using the framework that I have so far. Because the prompt was, can I fight to be the person that philosophy wants me to be today? And I think that first it's important to define what philosophy is and why it's important. As Epictetus reminds himself when looking at anything for the first time, he says, hold on a moment, let me see what you are and what you represent. Let me put you to the test. And I think that the mention of philosophy today kind of conjures up the image of some scholar who's haggling over words and twisting them into incomprehensible nonsense filled with, verbal puzzles and logical hair splitting that's trying to answer the unanswerable or really abstract questions. But most of the great classic philosophies in their original form were designed to be much more practical, comprehensive systems of tools available for helping to make sense of complicated, unpredictable events and really just guidance for how to live a good life. And I think that while the articulation across various Eastern and Western schools of philosophy differ slightly, the foundational principles remain fairly consistent. And I think that when explaining why philosophy is important, Seneca puts it better than I can. It's kind of lengthy, but bear with me. Philosophy is not an occupation of popular nature, nor is it pursued for the sake of self-advertisement. Its concern is not with words, but with facts. It molds and builds the personality, orders one's life, regulates one's conduct, shows what one should do and what one should leave undone. It sits at the helm and keeps one on the correct course as one is tossed about in the perilous seas. Without it, no one can lead a life free of fear or worry. Every hour of every day, countless situations arise that call for advice, and for that advice, we have to look to philosophy. So that's why I think of philosophy really as my life operating system, kind of akin to religion, although the two can be seen as complementary and not mutually exclusive, regardless of which religion you're looking at. It provides the framework, at least in its original form, for covering topics like physics, logic, and ethics. But in Roman Stoicism, it's mostly focused on logic and ethics. And of those two areas, I think that our own personal experience is relatively limited. So from the time we're born, we look to our elders to help provide that guidance. Maybe it's our parents or our teachers or maybe even our grandparents to provide that broader perspective. But even that's confined to a small space and time. I mean, we certainly have never been alive for a global pandemic like COVID-19. Our parents haven't, not even our grandparents. But if we zoom out further, we can see that history really does repeat itself. And as Marcus Aurelius says to himself, to bear in mind constantly that all of this has happened before and will happen again. The same plot from beginning to end, the identical staging. If you've seen the present, then you've seen everything, as it's been since the beginning, as it will be forever. The same substance, the same form, all of it. So we really can look to history and to philosophy to help provide that perspective. I mean, Marcus was emperor during the Antonine Plague, which 2,000 years ago was a global pandemic which had flu-like symptoms, started in the East, came to the West, killed millions, destroyed global economies. And he had to institute policies that were very unpopular, but very proactive. And it helped rein in that chaos in Rome and help restore it to stability and prosperity. And I'm going to post a link to something that was written by Ryan Holiday in the Daily Stoic that covers exactly what happened during the Antonine Plague and what he did to help restore order to the empire. So I think that back to the question, can I fight to be the person that philosophy wants me to be today? I would rather flip that on its head and say, how can I not be the person that philosophy wants me to be today? How can I not learn from the past if it stands to bring me stability, wisdom, perspective, happiness, and guidance for living a good life, both now, each and every day? So anyways, I hope that you found that perspective a little bit enlightening as to why I choose to look to philosophy to help with these topics, and hopefully it helps you as you go about your day today. Have a great one. Bye.